Welcome to Art Focus. Art Focus is a 30-minute show produced by the Office of Cultural Affairs that talks to wonderful art organizations around the community. Today, my first guest is Jet Ainsworth with KOPN. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
I love the spinny chairs.
Yes, aren't they fun?
Yeah, they're
yes.
comfortable and there's movement, so hopefully I'm not too distracting. But
No,
I
I
can't
do
help
the same
myself.
thing. I do the
Oh,
same
good,
thing,
good.
so we're good.
Good. Awesome.
So tell me, there's so many great things happening with KOPN.
Yeah.
First off, you've moved to a great new location. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
For those that are inundated to KOPN's history, we were located on Broadway for 49 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Obviously, the building wasn't created to be a radio station, but thankfully our founders and the folks that have come through in the last few decades, engineers and all sorts of volunteers, they've managed to kind of rig the building to be a radio station, a broadcasting station. And now that we've moved to 401 Bernadette, which is on another side of town, it's actually much better because that building is a newer building that was actually built with high-speed internet and
wow.
exactly, and space and office space. So not only is it kind of a new start, but it's also more accessible to folks now.
Yeah, those stairs were not accessible at all because there's no elevator in the building, correct?
Right.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, there was a backdoor situation that was always a problem. There, of course, were the steps that you mentioned, and it wasn't easy for everyone to have access
Right, not
to
inclusive.
KOPN. Exactly, and obviously that's what KOPN is all about.
Right.
That's what our call letters stand for. I don't know if you knew that. But
No.
KOPN actually is a reference to the word open,
Oh.
which means open doors, open minds, an open platform.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, and so that's what we're about. And part of the issue was folks that needed access. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Maybe they walk with a cane. Walking up that flight of stairs, especially during the winter.
Oh, right.
No good.
Right.
And accidents are much more likely to happen. But now we're fully wheelchair accessible.
Awesome.
And we have free parking, so you don't have to pay for parking just to host your show or
And
have
your
a
staff,
guest.
too.
Oh my gosh, every day.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, just from the practicality, the everyday practicality, it's much better. And from a broadcasting standpoint, it's much better. So we're going into the 50th year now, and
That's exciting.
it's almost like a continuation of the old place, but kind of a new start too, a reboot.
Right. So tell me about the programming that KOPN offers.
Oh man, that's a loaded question because just about every hour of every day is a new program. We're not like a typical radio station where you can just listen to the radio station. That's your station. You can listen to that music or that talk all day, every day. Our station is built more for no matter what it is that you like or what your interests are or where your passions lie, KOPN likely has something specifically for you. So we have a lot of women's empowerment programs, like Women's Issues, Women's Voices is a great one. She Served Too, which is hosted by Elizabeth Herrera. That program is specifically about military personnel and veterans that are female. That went through that process, and not just the process, but also the day-to-day life of being on a base that's predominantly male.
Sure.
And then obviously once you get out of the service, how you're served, by the government.
Yes, adjusting back to civilian life. Yeah, I'm sure that's very challenging for anybody, but particularly women who is not predominantly in the military.
100%.
Interesting.
100%. So that's a very obviously specific show, but
Right.
I mean, we all know veterans.
Right.
We know a lot of
Absolutely.
veterans, and we know a lot of female veterans. And so now finally in the community, that group exists, and now they have a place to go. They have
awesome.
someone that's actually talking about the things that they can't really talk to anybody else about,
Right.
or talk to anybody else about this subject, without it kind of being like a thing that you message each other in private about. Now it's public. It's
Right.
got a platform.
Right.
But
Right.
that's just one example. We've got music shows for days.
Yeah.
Everything from bluegrass to blues, jazz, hip hop, R&B, soul, country, country folk. I mean, we've got 2 or 3 hours dedicated to the Grateful Dead every single week. And so that just tells you, you know, it's,
Sure.
it's all types.
Yeah, the diversity. I love that.
Yes.
So is it your staff that is producing these shows, or is it the community? Because it's community radio,
Yeah,
correct?
that's the beauty of
yes,
it all. That's the beauty of it all. Essentially, if you wanted to, you could go to KOPN.org, you could submit an application with your show idea.
Okay.
And then you'd visit with me, and we just get to know each other a little bit, get to understand, you know, what KOPN's about, what you're about. And if it's a fit, then you get trained on how to run a radio equipment and
Right.
how to
Sure,
do a
that's not
show.
easy.
It's not, no, and it's a
Right.
process. It
Yes.
is a process. And yeah, we teach you how to write, you know, a show plan,
Right.
and put your segments together, where you want to take your commercial break or whatever, and you basically learn the industry right there, and then you get to play on the radio and get better every single week.
Right.
And so it is really a learning on the job plus coaching and training type of thing for anyone that has that aspiration
Right.
to broadcast. Yeah.
But I love the idea of having the community get involved, because I feel like then they are really passionate about the station and in ways that they can help promote what's going on within KOPN and how the community can get involved. I love all of that. That's fantastic.
It really is beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a collage
Right.
of folks that you know in
Yes.
town and folks that you've never met.
Right.
And I think that's, to me, the most attractive part about 89.5 is the idea that you can find culture in mid-Missouri that doesn't exist, you know, I guess, in this area as prominently, because, you know, a lot of these folks were students from, you know, California that moved here to go to Mizzou or Stevens or Columbia College, and then they just stayed.
Right.
And then they got a show on KOPN. And so you're actually getting, you know, a world of culture.
Sure. Yeah, I think of Diane Moxon with her show.
Yes.
Perfect example.
Yeah, yeah. We
Doing the great things that she's doing.
Yeah, we have British hosts, we have Irish hosts, and you know, we're so well represented with culture. And you bring up Diana Moxon, her show, Speaking of the Arts, it's a weekly show. It's on every Thursday evening, and all she really does is reaches out to some of the best artists, whether it be artists that are visual or performer, you know, performance artists like musicians or actors or what have you. And she'll also bring folks that are coming through to tour. And it's just a fascinating look at everything that's happening in Columbia from a culture and arts standpoint.
That's fantastic. I love that. So you mentioned 50 years. So and a new location.
Yeah.
So like that's a great birthday present.
It is.
So do you have a variety of different things you're going to be doing to promote that you're 50 years old, and what would those things be?
Yeah, well, because we're a community station, we have committees and we have groups, planning groups, and they put everything together. So, you know, I think the common misconception is that whomever is the general manager or the executive director of the radio station is the boss that just kind of tells everybody what to do, where to be, what time to be there, and it's actually the exact opposite of that.
Okay.
And that's been my professional experience is, you know, having bosses, a lot of bosses actually to answer to. And this is the exact opposite, where it's more empowering. It's like, well, if that's what you want to do with your show, then you need to make that happen.
Right.
But I can help you.
Right.
I can teach you how to do it.
Right.
You know, I can do that. And where it concerns the 50th anniversary, it's the same thing. It's like, what do you want it to be?
Right.
And so we're taking all suggestions. We do have a big party planned in June.
Okay.
We're still adding to that weekend. The official birthday is March 3rd.
Okay.
March 3rd, 1973 was when
Wow.
KOPN was founded. So yeah, we're going to have all kinds of great programming, not just on the air, but also community events throughout the year.
That's
but,
fantastic.
You're going to have to tune into KOPN
To hear
and go
more.
to the website.
Yes,
to find
absolutely.
out. Yeah.
So I think I did have the opportunity to visit, and you gave me a nice tour. You had mentioned at one point that you were hoping to do some concerts there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. On KOPN, we already have programs that have been bringing in live acts. Open Mic Radio is a good example. Mike Hagan has hosted that show for years, and he'll bring in live performers all the time, local live performers. What we have done with the Office of Cultural Affairs and the Missouri Arts Council is put together a whole new presentation called KOPN Soundstage.
Okay.
And what we do is we bring in either local acts or acts that call Columbia home, that have gone on to other places, bigger things, and we bring them back for a free community concert.
Wow.
And folks can come in, watch it, enjoy the good times, the good vibes, but also it's simulcast on KOPN and KOPN.org.
Okay.
So for the artist, they get the platform of having this free show with all of these KOPN listeners, and they also get this whole new concept of, what if we just put your 2-hour concert that you're performing live on the air live for
that's
2
fantastic.
straight hours, right? Because, you know, generally the radio rule is you have someone come in, they play a song, maybe 2, and then you get them out of the studio and you go do. This is totally different. This is more of an Austin City Limits type of presentation, or Tiny Desk concert that NPR has been doing for years. So that's kind of what we're wanting to do here locally.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else you want the community to know about what you're doing? Ways they can get involved?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you go to KOPN.org, there are so many different ways you can get involved. We're in the process of a board election right now. We're electing 3 new board members, but there's so many things you can do. You can either volunteer at events. You can volunteer, you know, to answer phones during pledge drives. You can volunteer to be a radio host. We have some folks that volunteered just because they want to learn how to edit. And so, you know, I teach some courses on audio and video editing, and kind of give them a jump start, and then let their self-motivation kind of take over from there. And yeah, it's a radio station, but it is more than a radio station. It's community radio.
Right.
And so it can be whatever we want it to be, really.
That's
as long
fantastic.
as we hold true, you know, to those original, you know, standards, you know, of openness, diversity, and inclusiveness.
That's great. I love that. You guys are such an asset to the community.
I appreciate it.
Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, we could always use your help.
Okay.
If you go to KOPN.org, you'll find very prominent buttons on the website that say Donate Now. And we're taking donations every single day of the year. In fact, your donations, if you've been a supporter of KOPN over the years, you've helped with the capital campaign, you actually put us in that new building. So you helped us, you know, stay alive, stay prominent, to your point, for, you know, another 10, 20, 30 years. But, you know, just to operate the place, because we're working with volunteers for the most part. Every dollar counts. And so, yeah, if you want to be involved, you can volunteer. You can also become a KOPN member for $5 a month, $10 a month if you want to do it that way, or you can just, you know, donate a lump sum and say, hey, it'd be awesome if you could do this with the money. Like, we'll do it however you feel that will benefit the community the best.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
you for what you're doing for the community. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I look forward to celebrating with you all year long.
Yes.
It'll be fun to see all the different events and attend a concert. So we really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a whole new era for KOPN. A lot of the old is staying, and we're incorporating some new. So it's an exciting time, and I think it's a good time for everyone in Columbia to get excited.
Wonderful. Thank you again.